Bill here. Today I wanted to talk to all my fellow Lymies and gut infection and chronic fatigue and chronic illness sufferers all about something. I'm going to talk today about herbal tinctures for treating some of these diseases. And I guess I'll just start off, quick with a kind of a quick background of, you know, what I went through and where I come from. Found out, that I had Lyme a couple years ago and, started on antibiotics. And then several months later, I found out I had Bartonella and Babesia. And, just started researching all about those, the different treatments for them and, different things out there. And at the time, I had never done herbal stuff before. Um, to put it bluntly, I thought it was a bunch of hooey, a bunch of, nonsense. I've learned otherwise in the meantime, as I'll, explain here in a sec. Um, I'm a firm believer now in a lot of that stuff. So what happened was I started researching all the different herbal protocols that are out there. And, there's Booner, there's ABAB, Byron White, I think it is, and the Cowden protocol, and there's several out there. So at the time, I wanted to take the, I guess you could say, the bull by the horns with this thing. I wanted rid of this stuff, and as quick as possible. I wanted to be able to go out and do the things I want to do. One of them being, ride my motorcycle. In case you haven't noticed, I, have a Harley, and it never made it out of the garage in 2017. Not even once, not even in the driveway. In 2016, I think it only made it out a handful of times, and that was only just to go for a little ride, maybe 5 or 10 miles, or maybe a little bit more than that. So, I wanted to really figure out, the different things that can be done. And pardon me again, it's still dry here in Pennsylvania. I gotta get my lemon water. Um, so at the time, I decided I was gonna go with the Cowden protocol. It made a lot of sense to me, a lot of the theory and science behind it. And so I was going to do that. Well, in the meantime, I found out that my company was going to downsize and get rid of a whole bunch of us, and I was going to be out of a job in 6 months. So I said, okay, we got to reevaluate this. The Cowden protocol looked a little pricey to me at the time, in my experience at the time. So I decided I was going to go with the Booner protocol instead. So I bought all his books, read up on it, started buying some of the tinctures from some online places and started into that. And I did, basically the Babesia protocol that I just talked about in my last video that I did the other day. And, and did that for, gosh, I don't know, I'm going to say 4 or 5, 6 months, somewhere in that range. And had great results. Got rid of all the Babesia symptoms, and in the meantime moved on to Bartonella and Lyme. But what happened was, I was buying all these tinctures. Well, it ended up being about the same price or even more than some of the other protocols that are out there, which, I guess if you think about it, that's no surprise. So I started looking into making my own tinctures and, what was involved in that. So I studied everything I could find, looked all over online and looked in books and different resources and started gradually making some of my own tinctures. And, I found out it's not too difficult. It's just really time consuming. And that's, what's behind a lot of the cost in a lot of herbal tinctures out there is the time involved in, especially handcrafting them. I don't know how some of these big companies do it. I don't know if they automate that, but, I'd prefer to have something handmade for myself anyhow. So that's what I did. So, I've been doing that for, let's see, I'm going to say about 11 months, 10 or 11 months. I've been making my own tinctures, and, it's grown and grown, and I've pretty much been able to be self-sufficient and not have to buy anything out there. Um, so what's happening lately, I started tinkering with the idea, well, I'd like to help other Lymies out there. And, if anybody is in my position where, you're on a budget, I've been out of work for, almost a year, and, I'm now doing the online school thing, but still, on a budget. And you know how it is, us Limeys are wiped out financially for the most part, unless you're lucky to, a lot of you people are lucky enough to have a spouse that supports you. I don't, and just me, and a lot of people are in my position. So I thought, what if I could, help people by, making some of these tinctures and putting them up for, a reasonable price, and so that's what I thought I'd do. And I've mentioned it a couple times in a couple comments online and on people's, YouTube channels and videos. And then also I think I might have briefly mentioned it in my last video on Babesia. So I thought, maybe I'd kind of put this out there, of what, what we could do, maybe we could work together on this. So I kind of listed, what was involved in some of the three protocols that I did, and Babesia, Bartonella, and Lyme. There's other ones out there that I haven't addressed because I really actually never got tested for them, but that's the three I've been concentrating on. So I thought I would just list for you quick what some of the herbs are that are involved in some of these protocols, and then maybe we can go from there and see what we can do here. So for Babesia, the main herbs are Cryptolepis, Bidens pilosa, Sida acuta, Salvia M, which is red sage, ashwagandha, and there's a little combo in there of Panax, ginseng, schizandra berries, and licorice root. So that's the main protocol. That's the full protocol, other than there's some supplements and different things that go along with that. And Bartonella, the herbs are knotweed, Sida acuta. You'll notice some of these will be common to a lot of these. Red root, hawthorn, a combination of rhodiola and ashwagandha, that's another one in common. A combination of Isatis, hutainia, and alcornia. So that's the Bartonella protocol. And the main Lyme protocol, again, that was pretty much the full-blown core protocol on those two. And the core protocol for Lyme is Japanese knotweed again, Salvia M, the red sage again, Chinese skullcap, not the American one, Echinacea angustifolia, not the normal American one, cat's claw, Eleuthero, aka Siberian ginseng, licorice root, and Chinese cat's claw. That's the other one. That one's crucial. So that's the three protocols and the herbs that are involved in them. So as you can see, each one has 7 or 8 herbs that are in the core protocol, and then there's a whole lot of other herbs that are more like supportive, I guess you could say, more specific to certain symptoms, pain. There's different ones for pain. There's different ones for arthritic pain. I won't go into all that detail here right now. And that Eleuthero that I spoke about is big time for fatigue. I've been using it, and you have to pulse it. We won't go into that detail right now, but I just thought I'd put this out there, wondering, what you all need. I don't want to do what I want to do. I want to do what all you need and what all you want, so we can, try to help people out. That's the bottom line of what I'm trying to do here, is help people out for, at reasonable cost, like I had to do. So there's different ways we could go about this. I could put up separate herbs for each protocol. I could come up with maybe a combo, where it's all mixed together, where you just take one thing. I could come up with different combos for different symptoms. There's things that can be done, like I said, for fatigue. There's things that can be done for arthritic pain, and different things for regular pain and headaches. And there's some of the herbs that I mentioned are good for drainage and good for your liver and your gallbladder and your lymph system. There can be a combination of probably 3 herbs that are good for that: the red root, the red sage, and the schizandra. And there's other different things I've done. I've done like an arthritis tea, which is just a bunch of dry herbs. You make a tea out of. I've done a chronic fatigue formula, which is a whole bunch of ground up herbs that you put in a smoothie or whatever. So I've done a lot of different things. So I just wanted to kind of put this out there, and get some input from you guys of what you think, what you would want, you know, and then we can figure out how we're going to do this. Had originally thought I'm going to, maybe put some stuff up on an eBay store, and then I've already come up with one. I don't know if the camera can focus on that or not. That one is one that's not in the protocols that I just talked about. That's stevia. And there's a lot of talk going on out there about that. I won't get into it in any detail here, but that's one that's supposed to be good for breaking up biofilms, but not stevia like what you buy in the store. This is strong tincture, and there's only a handful of companies that make that. So that was the one I thought I would maybe concentrate on first. So as you saw, I got bottles. I got a label done for that one. I haven't gotten any labels for any other ones done because I wanted to figure out what you all want and need first before I tackle that, because that involves a little bit of upfront cost, to do that. I might even just come up with some generic labels if you don't care about fancy labels. So yeah, I just thought I would put this out there for everybody, and work together to try to help my fellow Lymies out there. So please comment with your thoughts and what you want below. Thanks.